Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we are doing a recap and review of Ready to Love Last Resort Season 3 Episode 3, Watch What You Say. So if you're new here, remember to subscribe to continue to get quality content as we review all of our dating and romance reality shows. If you like this video, smash the like button and also drop a comment. I do engage with my subbies. So let's jump into this video. So it starts out with everybody coming into the look like a greeting area where everybody is mingling and getting to know each other and kind of catching up, and everybody's looking good, so that was pretty cool. And, the thing is, I do see some potentials. There's some connections that's really building from some of these conversations. And of course, we're going to get into the specifics as we go on in this video. But I'm liking some of the stuff that I see with, who's connecting with who. And you guys, when you complete watching the videos, jump into the comment section and tell me who your couples are that you see potential with. So Nephew Tommy comes on in and, he's excited to see everybody. And he said the same thing. Everybody's looking real good. But he informs them that this is the time that they need to spend with each other because two people are going home as well, I should say guys, because the women have the power this week. So they need to get to it to start some conversations and get to know each other. So let's talk about the first couple that I see tonight, and that is Joy and Jay. I really like this particular couple. I mean, I think they hit it off really well in conversation. He seems like a really nice guy. She has a lot of energy. But, for some reason, I just think they click. I mean, you guys tell me what you think about Joy and Jay. And then we have one of our first dates that was made, and that was with Chris and Naya. And, I mean, they started off really well. I mean, the conversation that they had, she's really interested in getting to know him, and of course, Chris is interested in getting to know Naya. They was like, yeah, I'm enjoying the conversation. I'm ready for a date. Let's do this, And just the fact that they, had they intertwined their fingers, I thought that was cute. So let's talk about their date. They had met up because they're going to do, and I think that's a kayak that they were on. I could be wrong. Somebody correct me in the comments because I want to make sure I have that correctly. But Chris was very, very nice as he helped her put the, I think that's a floaty or something that you would wear for protectant while you're on the water. But he helped her with that, helped her get into her little kayak. And they were talking about spirituality. And I mean, a lot of different topics that they really connect on. They really enjoyed, kayaking. And she said this was a lot of fun. And he was really excited about the fact that he's building a connection with Naya. And, I honestly see myself just from watching that I think they would be a great couple. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, comment in down below what your thoughts are with regards to Chris and Naya. So they actually had a little sit-down conversation. They started talking about spirituality. The fact that, she said her time is running out when it comes to having kids, and he was like, mine too. So he was interested in, the fact that he want kids too. And they just connected on so many, different things. And it was, quality things. It's not the surface stuff. They were hitting their core values. So I like that they started out kind of in the meat and potatoes aspect with regards to, building and talking about the deeper things. We're getting to know each other. And, Naya was like, hey, I want a second date. So they hugged it out. And I really feel the chemistry with these two so far. So I'm hoping that, something materializes from this, because I mean, they're absolutely, glowing as they, have this conversation with each other. So let's talk about this next couple that I see forming. But I think because they had an interaction prior to the show, the feelings or the energy was already there. So we have Rasheed and Adriana. And she said Rasheed is like a tall, cool drink of water. And he's helping her play pool. And, she did have a sit down conversation with him. She is extremely attracted to him. Very much so. Um, in regards to Rasheed, I know that he said that he's definitely trying to, go back and circle back to what they had before coming on the show. I just hope that he's sincere. I don't know. I mean, guys, let me know what you think about Rasheed. So they played this little Jenga game as part of one of the, how they give these shows, these little challenges and games. And you had to pull out a peg for Jenga and then have a message. And it was him to kiss somebody. And of course, he kissed Adriana. And she was more than happy to oblige, okay? And he was like, oh, yeah. Her lips were soft. I'm all good with that. I want to see where this go. So we'll see. So she didn't really make a coupling yet, but we're going to talk about Simone. And one thing that she was in the bottom three or bottom two last week. Well, no, she was in the bottom three. And she didn't go home, but one of the biggest things is that she wasn't the type of person that they said that talk a lot. And plus, she was really being pretentious too. And then we have Raymond, who was name dropping last week, and his issue is that he had this wall up about himself. But they really didn't hit it off. She tried to have a conversation with him, and it just seems that she thought maybe they had some things in common, but it's not 100%. I don't see the interest there. I just don't see this guy as being her type. But, we definitely know what happens to Raymond later, but we'll get there. So they had this conversation at the picnic table, and Simone goes into the fact about how she attract guys who are really negative, who discredit her, and then of course he had a conversation, meaning Raymond, about the fact that he don't want love, he wants to share love. And of course, Jay was like, okay, let me write that down. It doesn't make sense, but I got it. I mean, it made sense to me, but to everybody else. And then there's this whole conversation about who connected with who and who didn't connect with who. And Raymond it seems like he's a nice guy, but the fact that he has 5 kids by 4 moms was a big issue. And then he said he was open to having more kids with a new woman that he would get involved with. So, and he's 52. Hey, to each his own. You got people who continue to choose to have kids late in life. I'm just curious to find out how old his current kids are. So he then moves into a conversation with Adriana, and he bring up this whole thing about marriage, and he's not down for it, and she wasn't feeling that. She was like, just a piece of paper. Okay, then why are you here? I mean, because most everybody's there, especially some of the women are not just looking for love, they're looking to move into marriage possibly. And she caught him off guard because he was like, and she was like, seriously, I mean, what are you doing here? I mean, if you think marriage is just a piece of paper, then I don't know if that's going to work for you finding somebody here. And I totally agree with that. He's definitely had the musician's lifestyle, had children, different women, want more. That commitment thing is not 100%. So, again, we'll talk about him later. So then we move back to Simone, and she's talking about, again, like I said earlier, how she tends to attract the wrong type of guy. And she gave an example of the last guy she was with, and because she's an attorney, she had a book published. And she was so excited and told him about it, and he criticized and discredited her book, talking about his missing periods in certain paragraphs. And she was so hurt by that. It's like, wait a minute, I accomplished something big and you nitpicking it? And she even gave up the example about her father doing the same thing, how she would come home with good grades, but then he would talk about the C that she got in citizenship because maybe she didn't close her mouth. That is extremely toxic, and it's emotionally abusive when people do that, whether it's a guy or a girl. It breaks that other person down. Unless you're strong-minded to kind of disregard what that criticism is, especially if you know that it's not in a good place, it can really, really cause, emotional discomfort. And she talks about that with her dad and how she had to work on that. So, I'm hoping Simone, maybe she can continue to work through that, but hopefully, her and her dad will figure out their way. So let's move on to Miss Alex, and we have Brian, and she's definitely very interested. She says that because he was talking about some deep issues, and the looks that she was giving him was like, okay, I see you. I'm feeling that. And she wants to explore more with Brian. So honestly, maybe I'll give it a possibility, but we'll see how that goes, and of course they also participated in the Jenga challenge or game, where there's messages on the little Jenga peg, and he pulled a Jenga peg and it was a dare to kiss someone, and he chose to kiss Miss Alex, and she definitely obliged. And of course, she was happy about that. Brian thought that her lips were very, soft, and he could definitely do this again and get another kiss. So we'll see what happened with those two. I like those two. Let me know down in the comments what you think. So then we have Mr. Anthony, who was more than happy to remove his shirt, and Miss Winter was definitely more than willing to watch him remove his shirt, because she thought that he was packing those abs like that. She was like, okay. So you looking good over there. Winter also was involved in a conversation at the table when it came to Rasheed, and they were talking about pajamas. And he said, well, when it comes to shopping and me getting my PJs, I get them from Nordstrom. And they was like, why? You need to get them from Walmart. I thought that was funny. So let's get to Denise and Calfani. Denise is definitely feeling Calfani. She liked the fact that she was able to have a deep conversation pretty much about building her future. I don't know if he thought that was that deep. I think he was just going along with her. I mean, that was my impression, because he laughed at the fact that she wanted to build a community kind of like a Black Wall Street. And then when she said, I'm serious, he was like, oh, okay. And he kind of flowed with the conversation. I don't know if he was as deep as she thought he was, but they were on the same topic when it comes to, having their blessings and receiving blessings and how they come naturally. But she was definitely feeling him, but I don't know if I see that there with him. I think she's solid with what she wants, but I don't think that's the case with him. So Denise also participated in the Jenga game, and, she pulled a peg asking for her to take a drink. So now we're at the end. Nephew Tommy asked the ladies, because they met up in what he would call the Thomas Tavern, and he wanted to get an idea of what and who the ladies were feeling. So we starting off with Joy. Joy says that she is interested in Jay and Calfani. I honestly picked Jay as a better match for her. Winter is interested in one guy, Mr. Anthony, and I'm like, okay, go ahead and explore that one. That might work. We also have Denise, who's interested in Anthony and Calfani for the spiritual connection. I hate to put her in a triangle, but I just don't see that will Calfani talk to Anthony. And then we have Adriana, who has an interest in Rasheed, and then as that's her man, and then she called Calfani her side piece if she had to choose. That didn't sit well with Denise, because Denise called him a narcissist, meaning Rasheed, and she was like, I don't know where you get that from. And then, of course, we have Naya, who made her connection earlier in the day with Chris. The girls made their choices, and they had to have 3 separate conversations. Winter had a conversation with Rasheed, and she, had told him that the girls were considering the fact that we had to send somebody home, but we chose to keep you. And of course, he's over the moon, and that helps out Adriana in the process as well. So Rasheed gets to stay. So our next person is David, and David didn't have an experience that went too well with the ladies, and Denise was the one that had to have a conversation, and she was definitely not here for it. She told him pretty much, I didn't like the fact of how you came. You come in here with your hat on and you're acting like you got all this swag and whatnot, and he was trying to talk over her and everything, and I just think there's a lack of respect at some point with him. And of course, she told him he had to go home. And I think the biggest thing, like the girl said, he lit that table up. He gave her a hug. He was pissed. He definitely wasn't happy about it. But what really got him is him sticking his finger in Joy's face. I think that's what got him. So hopefully you'll find somebody. And then the last person, we have Adriana talking to Raymond. And, she told him, I'm like, hey, I had an interest in you, but your whole thing on marriage and it's just a piece of paper, and, the whole situation with your walls being up, it's just not going to work. And we decided that you are not ready to love. And he was disappointed. He didn't take it hard. He was like, you know what? I'll just, hopefully find someone else. She's out there. So we lost Raymond and we lost David this week. We kept Rasheed. So let's do our post notification shout out. If you want to shout out at the end of each of the videos, comment down below. The first shout out goes to Andre Johnson. Thank you so much for engaging in the channel. I really appreciate it. And then last but not least, S. Scott. Thank you so much as well for engaging in the channel. So if you're new here or you enjoyed the video, like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next week.